I want to talk to you about the word shaman and where it comes from and what it might mean, what it does mean, what it could mean, all of those things. My name is John Moore, and I am a shamanic teacher and practitioner from the state of Maine in the US. And yes, let's talk about the word shaman. And I have a particular item that bothers me a little bit, so maybe I need to do a little shadow work around that. But there is no shortage of people on the internet who want to tell people what words they can use, what things are okay, what cultures they're supposedly stealing from, etc., etc., etc. And because I practice shamanism, I do not refer to myself as a shaman, but I say I'm a shamanic practitioner, and I refer to what I do as shamanism. And I have my own definition of that, and I don't think it surpasses, supplants, or supersedes anyone else's definition of shamanism, because the word has lots of different meanings to lots of different people, but generally they hover around the same area. So I want to talk a little bit about where the word shaman comes from, because these well-meaning people, I suppose, or I don't know, it seems very egoic to me. Some of them like to say the word shaman is Siberian, and that's it. So anybody who's not practicing Siberian shamanism can't use that word, because there's a word police out there and somebody's going to arrest you or something. I don't know. Or you're being offensive, or you're misleading, or what have you. And I understand, like, from one perspective, I understand we don't want spiritual people misleading other people. And this is one of the reasons why I publish so much material. I have an extensive blog, I have a podcast, I have this YouTube channel, because I just want to put good information out there. Okay, the best information I can find. Now, I am not an academic. I'm a scholar, but I'm not an academic scholar. I do have 2 master's degrees, but not in this field. And my, my studies have not particularly been in linguistics or anything like that. I am going to link a lovely video below from somebody I respect a lot, Dr. Jackson Crawford, who is discussing what Indo-European is, what Indo-European languages are, and where languages come from. And the important part of this, for me, is in the beginning, where he discusses how we figure out what languages are related and where they come from by consistent morphology, right? By the way that words change, right? So, an example that he gives that I like is the word father in English comes from pater in Latin, right? So when there is a consistent rule that certain words, the beginning P in Latin changes to an F sound in English. And so we know that we can link that word. We can link that as a predecessor. There's consistent rules. So let's talk about the word shaman and the word shamanism. It is true, it is absolutely true that the word shaman is a Tungusic word, meaning the Tungus tribe in Siberia uses that word to describe their religious, spiritual functionaries that work in trance and do healing ceremonies and other religious ceremonies. That's absolutely true. And it's also true that there are shamanic cultures in which people are practicing very similar things, or things that are so close to that we call them shamanic, because shamanism is now an English word, and I'll talk about that a little bit, that have their own words for that, and that's totally fine, right? So, for example, we apply the word shaman very frequently to cultures in the Americas, so South Central and North America. There are indigenous tribes there that are shamanic, and there are many that are not shamanic, but there are shamanic cultures there, and of course they don't use the word shaman, or didn't traditionally, and they might use that word today, borrowed from English. So the word shaman is an English word, but is a borrowed word, the way that we borrow many of our words into English. And very few words are just made up, are just completely made up and only exist in English and have no history, right? So even our the words that have Germanic origin might have come from Anglo-Saxon. We have lots of French and Spanish words and Latin words and words from Greek borrowed in. Many of our medical terms are Greek, or in our legal terms are, well, we use a lot of Latin in law for some reason. I know there's a historical reason for that, but I think it's to confuse lay people so lawyers can charge more money. But you can fight me on that if you want. The word shaman, it came into English in the late 17th century. So it has been used in English for hundreds of years. And the issue is we don't have a different word for shamanism. And so shamanism gets applied to maybe an overly broad collection of things. And different people have different definitions of shamanism. I have stacks of academic books where anthropologists are, arguing, discussing, going back and forth about the definition of shamanism from an anthropological perspective. What do we say shamanism is? It's kind of the seminal work on this is by a researcher called, and I'm probably going to mispronounce this name, and I apologize, Mircea Eliade. The last name is spelled L-E-I-A-D-E, I believe. Books about this thick, originally written, I believe, in the 60s, and there have been many editions since then. And then there are a lot of people that will take that definition, the definition of shamanism that came out of that book, and change it, alter it, apply different things to it in an academic sense. So the word shaman, yes, it's used by the Tungus people. We now use it in English. It's now used in lots of different languages. The word is used in Russian, shaman, and female shamans called a shamanka, all of that. So did the Tungus people completely make this word up so that it only exists, like there was no predecessor, there's no connection to any other language in the world ever? This only belongs to this word belongs to this one culture. No. Quite simply, no. And anybody who argues that is just not informed, is just misinformed, ignorant, and I'm not using that in the pejorative sense. I just mean ignorant in that they don't have the information required to make a different determination. Now, there are lots of people out there who will never challenge what they believe or never believe evidence that contradicts something they already believe. So there are lots of people out there who you can argue till you're blue in the face, and they will always believe that only people in Siberia use the word shaman, that shamanism is only Siberian practice or Mongolian, what have you. The word shaman is not Mongolian, but whatever. So one of the reasons that why I'm linking the video below to Dr. Jackson Crawford's presentation on Indo-European is that I believe, and many academics believe, that the word shaman comes from Proto-Indo-European, meaning it's way older than any modern language, including, and by modern, couple thousand years, meaning that it exists before Tungusic, it exists before English, it exists before Russian, German, Spanish, French, even Sanskrit, because we find the word shaman or something very, very close to it in Sanskrit. How does that happen? Well, we also see the word in Semitic languages, such as Akkadian. We see the root of the word even in Hebrew, and it means something very close, very similar. We're talking about a spiritual functionary. In Pali, the word means like priest or holy person. Very similar, right? In some Chinese languages, the word shaman means Buddhist priest, so it probably came into there from India by way of Sanskrit. So that word shaman exists in many different languages with very similar meanings, and the connection between those languages is Proto-Indo-European. So, you know, probably many, many dead languages before it ever landed into Siberia, and that language, that set of languages, the first sort of evidence we have of that probably comes out of the region of Turkey, right? So and again, you can if you really want to nerd out on languages, you can watch the video I've linked to below. I find it fascinating. I think Dr. Crawford is a great presenter. He's obviously taught many lectures all over on linguistics, and he is an expert. So take it from him. He doesn't talk specifically about the word shaman in this video, but he's talking about how languages evolve. So we know languages evolve. We know they borrow words. So in English, the word shaman is borrowed in from Russian and German, and Russian, well, Russian probably got it from Tungusic, and German probably got it from Dutch, and it's sort of hard to figure that aspect out because at that point people were writing, and so there were written records and letters and all kinds of things, and we can trace some of it, but maybe not all of it. So anyway, this is where the word shaman comes from, or the root sha, or sh, the sh sound in Indo-European is usually placed before something of spiritual significance, something that has aspects of spirituality or religion to it. So anyway, that is what it is. I hope that you can gather some information from this. I know I'm not changing anybody's mind who's already convinced they know the full and complete and ultimate truth of everything, but maybe if you're open to learning something new, then this has been very helpful. Please subscribe to my channel. I look forward to talking to you again real soon.